All right. Let's get ready, man. Let's get ready to do it. Ah, man. King Ray back up in the joint once again, man. I know it's been a minute. Finally got the headliner movie wrapped, though. So we in the game, man. Ready to do it. Appreciate y'all being in the joint, man. I don't really know what they're going to do with the notifications. I know it's been a minute. We're about to find out, though. Let's give the people a few minutes, man. We're going to do what we got to do, regardless. You know what I'm saying? Let's give the people a couple of more minutes to get in here, man. Appreciate y'all being in the joint. You know, man, I was just talking to one of my spiritual brothers a couple of days ago, and we were discussing how temptation travels to meet you at the point where increased blessings are. You know what I mean? Temptation meets you at that point, and you have one opportunity to be strong and resist that temptation. Now, we always talk about strength. Everybody talking about going to the gym. Everybody talking about doing this. We always talk about mental health and all of these things, but no one focuses on spiritual strength. Because when you think about spiritual strength can keep you from making a decision that will affect both your physical, mental, and maybe even your financial health. One decision can affect them all. And that's what we're going to talk about today. We're going to talk about Proverbs 24:10. If thou faint in the day of adversity, thy strength is small. And if thy strength is small, God cannot trust you. Harlem World Breaker, aka SJ3. SJ, what up, my brother? Appreciate the dying man. Salute King Ray, the realest of the real. Salute to you, brother. Appreciate it, man. Appreciate it. Now, there are some things that we face in life. As men, there's just some things that we're going to face. We got to accept that. But blessings come from building the strength to not go in the direction that leads away from blessings. Do you know how blessed your life could be if you never fell to the wayside? If you never crossed the line and started chasing things that weren't in the direction of your blessings? If you never started chasing things that led you away from the promised land? If you never start chasing things and pursuing things that just aren't meant for you? Think about how many times you've tried to force a relationship that wasn't meant for you. Think about how many people who are trying to force a career that isn't meant for them. Think about how many people who are forcing friendships that aren't meant to be in their life. Think about how many times people are forcing even the environment they're in to fit their lives when it's not where they're supposed to be. But there's temptations there. Risk taking is simply being strong, having faith. So when we talk about adversity, the number one adversity we face as men is temptation. I should be going over here doing this, but I'm going to do this. If you're out of shape, overweight, morbidly obese, whatever you are, temptations got you there. Giving in to those temptations got you there. If you're in shape, resisting those same temptations got you there. If you're financially secure, resisting temptations got you there. Like there's a lot of people who make a lot of money, but they still aren't financially secure. Why? Because temptations keep leading them away from security. If you faint in the day of adversity, you're not securing yourself. So you're not going to have security if you can't be strong enough to resist the temptations, strong enough to resist the allure of things that you know aren't meant for you. When all low vibrational energy irritates your soul, the Most High definitely has his shield over you. Man, that's a word well said. when you can't be tempted away from your mission, because all temptation is low vibration. You're not tempted by the things that are good in life because you have to work for those things. Temptations are easy. Temptations are right there, just waiting for you to take them. All you got to do is make the decision to give in to the temptation. So you got many people who are trying to help you become the better version of yourselves, and they haven't become the better version of themselves because they can't overcome temptations. You have people who are speaking positivity into others' lives like it is their gift when they can't even speak enough positivity into their own lives to resist temptation. You have people convincing you that they're building bridges for everyone, but they're simply building bridges for themselves because they haven't mastered the art of truly being a giving spirit. Because temptation says be selfish. Now, there are some times where selfishness is needed, but for the most part, what we're dealing with is a society of people who cannot resist any form of temptation. Penitentiaries are full of young men who could not resist the temptation to respond emotionally. They responded emotionally and could not resist the temptation to hurt someone, could not resist the temptation to show someone a lesson. Well, I'm going to teach you something. You're going to learn today all of these things. You must understand and recall that the thing that ruins man's life the most is temptations. You think about the men who are dealing with other men's wives, temptation. You think about the men who have gambling problems, temptations. You think about the man who have alcohol problems, temptation. And you may say, well, they need these things to deal with life. No, you need God to deal with life. You do know that the nickname for alcohol is the devil's potion, right? It's a guilty thing sometimes when men exhibit those behaviors because they feel guilty. It's their fault. Nobody understands how to fall back on the most high, how to fall back on God, how to fall back into spiritual security. Everyone goes for the thing that's going to make them feel better. We find ourselves in places that we know we shouldn't be in. Why? Because we're tempted there. We're lured there. We know there's something that's going to cater to our five senses. It's going to smell good, taste good, look good, sound good, or feel good. And temptation dominates our five senses. So when you hear, "In if thou faint in the day of adversity," that don't mean just pass out. That don't mean you black out. Faint means weak. It means you get weak. It means you get small. It means you get, look what it says. If thou faint in the day of adversity, thy strength is small. Let me tell you the greatest position you could be in life: when God trusts you. When God trusts you to do what you're supposed to do, he'll trust you with the blessings that come from that. He'll trust you with the things, with the connections, with the connectivity, with the things that you need to have, with the people you need to meet, with the places you need to be, not the places you're tempted to be. And I think many of us spend too much of our time worrying about what people want us to do, as opposed to thinking about what God wants us to do. And the moment you understand that focusing on what God wants you to do eliminates all limitations on your life, that's the elimination of all limitations. Dedicating yourself to being and doing what God put you here to do and be. The glass ceiling comes off of everything you're involved in your life. You start to understand that there are certain people in your life you think is love, you think is affection, you think is a connection. No, it's temptation. Think about how long it takes some people to get rid of people who are negative in their lives, people who don't appreciate them, people who don't bring them but negative energy, people who do nothing but complain, people who don't accept you for who you are, people that don't take a cue from you and use your growth potential to make themselves grow. Leeches, people who just want to come into your life and take. Think about how long it takes. Sometimes it takes you to hit rock bottom before you get rid of those people. And that ain't because you're so hooked on the person, it's because you're weak. It's because you fainted in the day of adversity and your strength is small. Think about the last time you've gone 6 months without giving in to a temptation. That's the reason we abstain 6 months out of every year, at least 6 months out of every year. Why? To remind ourselves that we can resist temptation. That's why we stay away from those sites. That's why we stay away from self-deprecating behavior. Why? Because that behavior is based on temptation. All of these things are based on temptations. You know, there are people who can't stop eating sugar. Why? Temptation. There are people who can't stop eating pork. Why? Temptation. There are people who can't stop cheating on their spouse. Why? Temptation. There are people who make good, legitimate money, but can't stop doing the illegal thing that they're doing. Why? Temptation. There are people who are living an alternative lifestyle that they feel guilty about, but they can't stop. They just rather live with the guilt and shame and hide and move around and duck and dodge and hope that people don't find out and stress out about it. Why? Temptation. There are people who can't even be alone for an extended period of time. They don't know what alone time is. To them, alone time is the time they're in the car riding home from work. They don't need no more alone time. Even needing company all the time, needing someone around you all the time, that is temptation. Temptation that keeps you from the blessing that comes from knowing who you are. Most of these temptations come from lack of knowing who you are. When you when you can't resist temptation, you lack appreciation for the blessings that the Most High gives you, because you rather go feel a temporary feeling. This instant gratification society that we live in is affecting everyone in a negative manner. You look around, everyone is giving in to their temptations. And what do they say about God? They talk bad about God. They talk against God. They talk against you and me for believing in God. They talk against us for exhibiting any interest in the word of the Most High. Let me tell y'all something, man. I had a woman tell me she was trying to come visit me, but it was her time of the month. I told her, no, can't do. You can't do it. You're off limits. You can't even come around me for 7 days. She said, well, I never read that in the Bible. I said, well, isn't that for you? She said, wait. No. I said, that's biblical law. She said, biblical law. She said, what you talking about, the Holy Bible? I said, yeah. Man, she bust out laughing like I told a joke. I'm telling my man bust out laughing like I told a joke. And that was our last conversation. Now I had one of my partners. I told one of my partners this story, and he was like, "Man, so man, you just cut her off?" He's like, "Man, you could." I was like, "Bro, no, I couldn't have. The temptation ain't that strong." Well, let me not say the temptation ain't that strong. Let me not say that. The temptation ain't strong enough to get me. I ain't gonna let it happen. You know why? Because I understand the punishment that comes from giving in to temptation. I'm too seasoned in this God game. I'm too seasoned in this holiness game. I'm too seasoned in this righteousness game. If I cross certain lines, the consequences and repercussions will be swift and immediate for me. I don't have time to play around. I don't have time to play games that God knows I'm too old to play. You know how when you're 2 years old, you get away with things in your terrible two that you can't get away with when you six. Terrible two, you can write on the wall with a marker. You 6 years old, you write on the wall with a marker, man. You better hide. You better hide. And depending on who your parents are, you better run away from home. You know what I'm saying? You better go to the neighbor next door and say, I got to get out that house. Because at a certain point, your parents expect more from you, and they should, because you know better. And at a certain point, the Most High expects more from us because he should, because we know better. We know better to be going places we ain't got no business going. We know better to even be riding by those places. Boy, listen, you can't even think of a reason to go to some of these places. You shouldn't be able to. That's how you stay out of the midst of the people, places, and things that have you going against the Most High. That's how you stay strong in the day of adversity. That's how you make sure you don't faint in the day of adversity. That's how you make sure you prove yourself to God that your strength is big, that your strength is big, that you're strong, that you can resist temptation, because God does not trust you if you cannot resist temptation. Now, does he expect us to be perfect? No. But you know what I'm talking about. People who just throw caution to the wind, people who would rather say they know there is God. They know God is real, but they rather just say there is no God than to try to be strong in the day of adversity. There are people out here who feel this way. There are people out here who live this way. There are people out here who believe this way. They don't know how to prioritize the things that are important in life. And I think that's one of the major problems that we have. We live in a world, especially in this society, where people don't know how to prioritize things in life. They put money at the top of the pile in all ways. And whatever you put at the top of the pile, that's the thing you're willing to put up the most fight for. That's the thing you're willing to sacrifice the most for. That's the thing you're willing to lose the most for. And that's the thing you're willing to lose sleep over, and not even you're willing to take from somebody if you have to. That's the thing that you're willing to go across the line into evil doing in order to attain. So if money is at the top of your list, you probably give in to all types of temptations. Now, granted, I will say this. In America, we live in a society that's very, very, very expensive. When I tell you it's very expensive, listen, it is very expensive. I had a partner just went to Bali. My partner Afi just went to Bali. So I'll tell you what the currency exchange is in Bali. I think they use a ruple in Bali. I'm gonna tell you right now. It's Indonesian rupiah. 50,000 USD is 814,845,000 Indonesian rupiah, which is the currency used in Bali. Literally, $20 will feed you all day at fine dining. Fine dining. Uber, like 50 cents, 60 cents. Depending on where you're going, maybe 35 cents. Now, so I will say we do live in an awfully expensive society. Very expensive society. But that doesn't mean you give in to temptation. That means that you reel back on the temptation. That's how you maintain in an expensive society. You reel back on the temptations. People who go out to eat all the time, they're giving in to temptation. The temptation to not have to cook, the temptation to not have to clean up their own kitchen, the temptation to go out and spend money, the temptation to go out and look like everyone, to keep up with the Joneses. That's temptation, brothers. And that temptation is different. When you can't prioritize things in your life, temptation is going to take you on a roller coaster up and down. I mean, year after year, you're going to go up and down on that roller coaster year after year. And it's going to be a terrible place to be. Because when you give in to so much temptation, it ruins your life in a way that you can't recover from. Because you don't have the focus to recover. Because you don't even have the focus to get over these temptations. If thou faint in the day of adversity, thy strength is small, and God can't trust you. Because adversity will come. It's not going to be just a free ride where no matter how righteous you are, you don't get to have a free ride through life. Temptation must come in order to keep you humble, in order to keep you strong. We go to the gym. We do all that working out. Everybody want to be physically strong. Everybody want to have, everybody want to be chunked up like Dr. BOA. Everybody want to be swole. Everybody want to be all of this. But the bottom line is the very people who are in the gym all the time do not exercise their spiritual man because they don't dare exercise it. They don't care to exercise it. You exercise your physical man and leave right out of there and go get a belly full of pork. Why? Because temptation says, especially if you live in the South, if you're from the South, temptation says pork is okay. Man, I'm gonna eat my bacon now. I'm gonna eat my bacon. Now, man, let me tell you something. I don't eat no pork, man. I'm gonna eat my pork chop though. I'm gonna eat my pork chop now. Now, man, I don't eat that, man. Oh, you got a beef hot dog? No, man, I need me pig hot dog. Man, it's summertime, man. You don't eat no ribs? Man, I need my, man, now the beef rib, man, they got too much meat on it, man. I don't want that. I want the more poke bones. This is what we're hearing. And people will try to convince you that you're wrong for not doing those things. People will try to accuse you of being some religious zealot because you don't do those things, because right here in the word, it says don't. Thou shalt not eat the swine. Now, is it for everybody? No, that's for God's chosen people. So if that don't apply to you, if you're not the descendant of the 12 tribes of Israel, don't worry about it. It don't apply to you. Eat whatever you want to eat. But for us, that's not something we need to eat. That's not something we need to do. Not something we need to indulge in. People drink beer and they don't know. In some of these beers, man, they use an ingredient from the lining of a pig's stomach, man, as a preservative. People don't understand. You're eating things, you don't even know what it is. You're putting things in your belly, you don't even know what it is. Have no idea. Most people don't even know lard. Lard, like traditional grocery store table lard, is pig fat. People don't even know it. But people live in a world where they don't care. They don't care. People want to have fun. You only live once, right? YOLO. You only live once. That's the mindset of most people. You only live once, so you might as well do whatever you want to do while you're living this life. Don't worry about nothing. Just live the life. You got men out here with wonderful wives. I mean, wonderful wives. Proverbs 31 wives. And they can't resist the temptation of sleeping around with scallywags. You have women out here who have wonderful husbands. I mean, godly men, masculine men, providers, protectors. And they can't resist temptation to be out here running around with these ragamuffins. You have men out here who don't take care of their own kids, but they meet a woman and taking care of her kids. Do more for her kid than you do for your own kids. Why? Because of temptation. The temptation to have her makes you do dumb things that don't even make sense, make you do things that are a curse to you. Don't you understand how cursed you are if you are taking care of another man's kids and not taking care of your own? You have people out here, man, they want to live a life so bad, they blowing so much money that they still in time on the job. They're clocking in before they get there. They're clocking out after they leave. They doing all having other people clock in for them. You got people, man, they stealing all type of thing from the job. Man, you got people work at warehouse, man, they stealing toilet paper. You got people who work in certain businesses, man, cash businesses, man, they take some of the money. They use the money to buy their cigarettes and beer and liquor and all the extra things they want, man, throughout the week. People do it because of temptation. If you eliminate all temptation from your life, If you're living, let me rephrase that. If you stop giving in to all temptation in your life will change in 6 months to 12 months. I guarantee you. All the temptations that you give in to, just go as hard as you can, be as strong as you can, prove yourself to the Most High for 6 to 12 months and watch your life change. Watch your life change. I'm telling you. People say eating whole nutrition food is whole nutritious food is expensive. No, it's not. No, it's not. You know why people don't eat a lot of salad? Because if you eat a nice, good, healthy salad that's full of multiple greens, you don't need no more salad. You get all the nutrition you need for that moment from that salad. But you wonder why salad is just lettuce. Ain't got no calories. I mean, bro, you could eat a tub of salad this big and get 20 grams of carbs. You know what I'm saying? You get 20 grams of carb. Matter of fact, not even 20 grams of carb, you get 20 calories. You can eat a big tub of salad, man, get about 20 calories out of it. It'd be something like 11 grams of carbs, man, the whole tub. But you can't eat the whole tub. But you can eat a whole bag of chips. You can eat a whole bag of chips that got 250 calories per 17 chips. And got like 8 servings in it. You can sit and eat the whole bag. Why? Because there's no temptation with the salad. That's just you one-on-one. You and your body one-on-one nutritious food. You know what's in that bag of chips? Temptation. Temptation is real. It's all around us. So when we say temptation, we think about the most obvious ones. We think about, you can't leave the women alone. You can't leave, if you're a woman, you can't leave the men alone. You can't do this. We look at drinking, and we look at smoking, and we look at all of these things. We look at all of these on the surface things that are big. Yeah. When you overcome those, you're like, yeah, I don't have those temptations. I don't, you know, the number one thing that people like to brag about? I don't drink and I don't smoke. Understand me? I don't drink and I don't smoke. I ain't gonna do it. But you walk in their house in the morning, you got to walk out because they're in there cooking sausage and bacon. And I'm talking about straight off the pig. So when you think about it, people, they brag about the big temptations, but those are the easy ones. The real temptations are the ones that are around you every day, the small ones that are around you. The temptation that make you pick up that phone and keep scrolling when you know you got something else to do. The temptation that make you click on that post when you know it ain't something you need to be watching. The temptation that make you want to watch that movie with all that gore and violence in it because you've convinced yourself, but it ain't real. Well, guess what? It has a real effect on your psyche. It has a real effect on your mind. It has a real effect on your body. It has a real effect on all your systems. You understand me? Nervous system, cardiovascular system, even endocrine systems. All of them are touched by that stuff. That's why you jump at a scary movie. That's why you have memories of a scary movie. That's why you can't get the images out of your head. Because we give in to all of these temptations. They're all around us everywhere. That's why you have to take time to yourself. You have to take that alone time to meditate and think and breathe and not have anything going in so you can bring everything out. That's why people meditate. That's why people do yoga and all of that. They don't do it, man, to just say, I'm doing yoga. Look at me meditating. No, they do it so they can have a moment in time every day where they're not taking anything in so they can just release. You need that in your life. You need to have a time in your life every day where you release. Because all you do every day is take in information, take in toxins, take in people's voices, take in people's energy, take in food, take in beverages, that's all you do is take in. When do you ever release it? I ain't talking about in the bathroom either. I ain't talking about when you release waste. I'm talking about when you release energy, when you release built up pressure, when you release these things that don't need to be you, when you release your desire to give in to temptation. You need these times in your life. They're significant. And that's why most people can't put God first. They can't put God first because they always tempted by temptation. Something's always tempting them away. They're always this close to giving in to temptation. You can't put God first when you're this close to giving in to temptation. You actually have to show some strength and push yourself away from the temptation before God to even come close to you. You can't be just hanging out around temptation all the time. You got to be strong enough to say, okay, I love me enough, and I love God enough, and I want to be successful enough, and I want to have peace enough that I'm going to release all of this toxic energy in me that's causing me to be attracted to temptation, drawn to temptation, weakened by temptation. That's a job we all have to do. Nobody's going to do it for you. God ain't gonna come pluck you out of temptation while you're over there enjoying yourself. Woo, look at me, boy, I'm having a good time. Listen, I smoke, I drink, I'm supposed to stop, but I can't. Nope, rest in peace to magic. So that ain't what we talking about, man. We talking about waking up every day full of zest and desire to live a life that's pleasing to God. That's how you overcome temptation. You got to actually want to live a life that's pleasing to God. You got to demand of yourself that you live a life that's pleasing to God. And many times people just don't want to do that. Logic before emotion. Appreciate the dub. Salute to the kingdom. Salute Ray Ray. Bless up. Salute to you, brother. Appreciate it. So the reality is we need to take some time to think. That's why I tell you all the time, as a man, you need a masculine space to think. You got to have men who have a man cave. They have a man cave for a reason. They have a man cave because even in that big pretty house, you got to have a space that's always got the energy of you and God in it, and never any energy weaker than that. It's got to be a space for you and God. That's why you got to guard who your friends are. If you got a friend, if you cheating on your wife, bro, I mean, if you got a good wife at home and you cheating on her, bro, you can't come to my crib. You can't be around me. Now, if you got a wife who understands that you're gonna have another wife and she's open to that and all of that, cool. That ain't what I'm saying. I'm saying if you're a man that's sneaking around on your wife, man, doing all kind of dirt, man, you can't come around me because you don't have the strength to stand in the day of adversity. Your strength is small and God can't trust you. Now, what makes you think if God can't trust you, I'm going to trust you? What makes you think if God can't rely on you to do what you're supposed to do for him, why would I trust you, man, to do anything except falter and faint in the day of adversity? Because thy strength is small. Punishment as consequences and repercussions is what many people deal with on a weekly, if not daily basis. Why? Because they keep doing the things that bring harm to their lives. How you going to destroy your own life? How you going to do things that are detrimental to your own existence? Even if listen, selfishness, being self-centered rather, is temptation. Missing out on a good person because you too self-centered, because you want it your way, because temptation is telling you ain't got to do nothing. You should just give that whatever you want for being who you are. All you should have to do is show up. Man, people are losing all good things in their lives because they can't be humble enough to understand that they're weak for temptation. When you understand you're weak for temptation, then you start to understand how much stronger temptation is than you in your current form. So you know what you do? You go and you start seeking out the face of the Most High. You start seeking out God. Why? Because there is no resisting temptation without the power of God in you. If God don't put his power in you, bro, you can't resist temptation. We're humans. We're wired to be controlled by our five senses. Only the sixth sense, the spiritual man, can overtake that. Look, your spiritual man is so strong, it can overcome all five senses. And we know, man, think about the best smelling thing you ever smelled, man. You know what I'm saying? Think about being in a cabin, being in a log cabin in the wintertime. You're up in the mountains. You wake up in the morning and you smell that fresh roasted coffee, or you smell that aromatic tea that you love so much, and you smell your favorite breakfast in there cooking. And y'all was so tired from hanging out yesterday, y'all didn't even eat no dinner last night. You are hungry. I want y'all to think about that. Think about in the spring when those first rains hit. Think about how they make the ground smell. Think about that. Think about how when your wife puts on your favorite perfume and she's got on your favorite lotion together. Think about when you go buy a brand new car. Think about that new car smell. Think about your favorite song. Think about how you felt the first time you heard it. Think about your favorite food. Think about your food that's seasonal and you can only get it when it's in season. And think about when that season first breaks every year and you get them fresh and ripe. That's how I am about watermelons. You get them fresh and ripe. Think about that. I'm telling you, we got to understand. Think about when you're in the best shape you could ever be in and you really stop working to look at your progress. I'm telling you, our five senses are masterful. They are strong. I'm talking about, man, our five senses are phenomenally strong. They are powerful agents in our lives. And we got that one sixth sense, that spirit man that can make them sit down. If we strengthen him, if we cater to the spirit man, if we allow the sixth sense to be dominant over the five senses like it should be, if we allow our sixth sense to keep us away from temptation. All you got to do is know the word. If you know the word, then you know what you shouldn't be doing. Temptation happens because you don't even know or you don't even accept that what you're doing is wrong. You don't even accept that you're crossing the line. You don't even accept that you're losing your mind. You don't even accept that what you're doing ain't fine. You just do it. You just do it. CF with Ted. Salute, man. Appreciate the 5 bone, paying my dues. That's overdue. I love the word, man. Still going back 5 years. Listen to the old vid. Salute to you, young brother. Appreciate you, man. Appreciate you. Keep diving in, man. Keep diving in. We coming back through, bro. Literally, man. All we finna do, man, for the rest of this year, bro. We might do some separate content about something else, some motivational content. Maybe we'll do motivational Monday. We'll do motivational Monday and finance Friday. But every other day, bro, even on those days, sometime, man, we're just gonna dive into the word, man. Yeah, we gonna take a verse or we gonna take a scripture, man, and we just gonna roll with it. Every time you hear me, that's what we're gonna be doing, man. We're gonna dive into this word, man, because all the gems of life are in the word. All the gems of life are in the word. Whatever your temptation are, the gems of life are in the word. All you gotta do is dedicate yourself to the word. All you gotta do is take your vow to Nazarite, separate yourself to the word and ways of the Most High, and man, you will come out that thing and you will be ready to live your new life, bro. Let me tell you something. It don't matter how old you are. It don't matter how if you backslid. It don't matter if you had flipped the switch, did you turn back? It don't matter if you took the vow to Nazarite 20 years ago and now you're back out in the world living life, giving in to temptation again. It don't matter. Do it again. Start over. Here's the thing: you can't just dive back in. If you go back out there in the world and start living that same life you were living, you got to start over. You got to go back into that vow Nazarite again. You got to clean yourself up and separate yourself to the ways of God. And man, apply these things to your life. Everything you face in life is in this word. The key to it, the cure to it, the remedy to it is right here in this word, brother. It is in here. And I'm gonna bring it to y'all when I come in here. Cause man, times are getting late. We getting late in this world. We're getting closer and closer to the time where things are gonna change in this world, man. We see it all around us. We see the things happening. There's more temptation around us than ever. More temptation than ever. More negative energy than ever. More hateful people than ever. More users than ever. More abusers than ever. More confusers than ever. More losers than ever. More illogic than ever. More people that's toxic than ever. And that's the world we live in, bro. We got to man up. You got to man up. Get yourself tight with the Most High, man. How you going to turn him down when all the answers to everything you deal with in life is in his word? It'd be different if I was telling you, man, to go read Run C. Spot, Run C. Jane. I ain't telling you to go read Sally Dick and Jane book. I'm telling you, man, all the answer to the life, the key of life is in the word of the Most High, dog. Everything you need is in here. There's not a situation you can face that's not covered in here with the problem and the solution, and even sometimes some retribution. Don't let temptation keep dogging you out. Don't let people keep pushing you around. I almost stopped beatboxing then, didn't it? Don't let people keep pushing you around. Don't let society make you weak because you don't know what to stand on. You standing on the house of stand. Man, listen, you can't build a house on the sand. Get in this word, man. Apply it to your life. Get all the answers you need so you can go out and face temptation with some strength, man. Because Proverbs 24:10. If thou faint in the day of adversity, that strength is small. And if that strength is small, God can't trust you at all. And if God don't trust you, how can the men of God trust you? Man, if God trusts you, he protects you. If God trusts you, he don't neglect you. If God trusts you, he don't give up on you. I'm telling you, brothers, you got to have this mindset. You got to understand that everything in this world that is temptation is created and doctored by the enemy of your success. The enemies of your success want you to fail, want you to struggle, want you to always have trouble. Their goal is to walk around with a pen and just burst your bubble. But you got to let them know that you serve a God that's stronger and been around longer. You got to let them know you serve a God that's greater and will squash any hater. You got to let them know that you serve a God that's the truth and been that way even before your youth. We got to stand on principles because we live in an unprincipled world. A bunch of people talk the talk, but they don't walk the walk. But their excuse for not walking the walk is that they're doing okay financially. Man, some of the most wicked people on this planet are some of the richest. So do not gauge a man's righteousness by his material wealth. Because if you do that, you're playing yourself. And you're going to put yourself in a situation with somebody that is destined to not help you gain wealth, but to increase their wealth by robbing you of yours. And by wealth, I don't just mean finances. I mean spiritual wealth as well. We got to stand up and be strong, brothers. Got to stand up and be strong. So listen, brothers, I appreciate y'all, man. I appreciate everyone being in the joint, man. I appreciate everybody coming through. I know we've been away from this thing, man, but we finally wrapped the Headliner movie. We're wrapped. We're done. We got some credit sequences. That's it. The shooting, we're done. Finally wrapped. So we're in post right now. We got post editing. Then we got colorization. We got audio editing left. Get those things knocked out, man. We are ready to go. It's coming. It's gonna be a big one, dog. When I tell you it's gonna be a big one, man, listen. It's gonna put the kingdom on the map, dog. I'm telling you. So listen, brothers, I appreciate y'all, man. Fear to none. Appreciate you, brother. Appreciate $10 super sticker, man. Hey, man, listen. GC, man, I see you in the building, dog. Salute to you, man. Salute to you. Appreciate you being in the joint, man. Royalty, man. I saw you in the joint too. Dr. Noble J. Bay. Salute, man. Salute. Appreciate you, brother. Appreciate it. See all the brothers in the building, man. We were cooking, man, so I really didn't have an opportunity, man. Fearless Swami in the building too, man. Salute to you, Swam. Good to see you in the joint, man. So listen, man, I appreciate y'all, man. Listen, for all y'all who stayed in the memberships, man, even though I ain't been coming with the streams, man, I appreciate y'all. We about to get back into these things, man. Um, I appreciate y'all, man. So listen, even if we got to do them from the car, man, we gonna do them. We gonna knock them out. So listen, I appreciate y'all, man. Listen, y'all keep grinding and growing, man. Y'all stay strong and remember, man, if thou faint in the day of adversity, thy strength is small, and God can't trust you. And if God can't trust you, you can't trust yourself. SJ3, GC. Peace.